everyone. Today we are going to discuss ISO 9000 and ISO 14000. So what we are going to today discuss, first of all we are going to discuss ISO. We discuss about the brief introduction of ISO, what are standards and how they are developed. Then ISO 9000, ISO 14000, benefits of ISO standards, process of ISO certification. So first of all, International Organization for Standardization. Abbreviation used for this is ISO, and this is a not acronym. Acronym means what in ISO, I stand for international, S for standardization, and O for organization. But it is read as International Organization for Standardization, so it is not a acronym. Formation. Its formation took place in 23 February 1947.
बेटा सुनो अमन, ये एक्रोनिम है, ये सिनोनिम मतलब उसका वो आ जाएगा ना पूरा, इसको हम एक्रोनिम बोलते हैं. चलो करो स्टार्ट.
Type. It's a non-government organization. Purpose for development of international standardization. Membership currently 165 members are its member, means 165 countries are its member. Official language English, French, Russian. President currently its president is Eddie N. George, and its headquarters is situated in Geneva, Switzerland. Now overview. The organization develops and publishes worldwide technical, industrial, and commercial standards. It facilitates world trade by providing common standards among nations. More than 20,000 standards have been set, covering everything from manufactured products and technology to food safety, agriculture, and healthcare. ISO's Committee on Conformity Assessment (CASCO) develop policy and publish standards. In ISO, this is the committee which develop policy and publish standards. Now the members. In this world map, you can see the blue color represent member bodies. Currently, 122 members are its member bodies. Correspondent members, 39 members, and subscriber members, 4. And the black color represent non-ISO bodies. From India, Bureau of Indian Standards represent India in ISO, Bureau of Indian Standards. Full members or member bodies. These members influence ISO standards development and strategy by participating and voting in the ISO technical and policy meetings. These can sell and adapt ISO international standards nationally. Now correspondent members. These members observe the development of ISO standards and strategy by attending ISO technical and policy meeting as observer. Correspondent members that are national entities sell and adopt ISO international standards nationally. Now subscriber members. These members keep up to date on ISO work but cannot participate in it. They do not sell or adopt ISO international standards nationally. Now what is a standards? Formula that describe the best way of doing something. Standards are the distilled managing a process, delivering a service or supplying materials. Standard covers a whole range of activities. Now there are some standards like ISO 9001, world best known quality management system. This standard is for business and organizations that want to ensure their goods and services consistently meet the customer requirements. ISO 14001, environmental management system. It provides assurance to management employees and stakeholders which measure and improve the environmental impact of their organization. ISO 27001, information security management system. Managing information that is considered sensitive and of significant value to a business. ISO 20000, food safety management system. It focuses on the highest level of food strategy throughout the entire life cycle of food. Now the key principle in ISO development standards. First, respond to a need in the market. ISO does not decide when to develop all standards, but it responds to a request from industries or stakeholders. These industries communicate to its national members, like in India, Bureau of Indian Standards, who then contact ISO for the development of standards. Second one, based on global expert opinion. Standards are developed by experts from all over the world that are part of its larger group communities. They negotiate all aspects of the standards, includes its scope, key definition, and content. Developed Third one, developed through a multi-stakeholder process. These experts do not only do not these experts take participates, but also from consumer association. This the process is discussed from consumer association, academics, NGOs, and government too. Fourth one, based on consensus. Developing ISO standard is a consensus based approach, and comments from all stakeholders are taken into account. Every working day of the year, around 26 technical meetings take place somewhere in the world, and this is written on their official websites. And in this time, these meetings will take place virtually. Now, ISO 9000. ISO 9000 is an international standards for the development of quality management system that any organization can adopt. ISO 9000 purpose is to enable companies to demonstrate that they are in position to provide product or services that meets customer expectation and are focused on total customer satisfaction. ISO 9000 series quality management principles. First one, customer focus. Organization depend on their customer and therefore should understand current and future customer needs, should meet customer requirements and strive to exceed customer expectation. Second one, leadership. Leaders establish unity for purpose and direction of the organization. They should create and maintain the internal environment in which people can become fully involved in achieving the organization goals. Third one, engagement of the people. People at all levels in the organization are the agents of an organization, and their full involvement enables their abilities to be used for organization benefits. Next one, process approach. A desired result is achieved more efficiently when activities and related resources are managed as a process. Next one, improvement. Improvement of the organization overall performance should be a permanent objectives of the organization. Next one, evidence-based decision making. Effective decisions are based on the analysis of data and information. Last one, relationship management. An organization and its external providers like suppliers, contractor services provider are independent and mutually beneficial relation, and hence enhance the ability of both to create value. Now ISO 14000. It is an international standards for environmental management that any organization can also adopt potentially. It serves as a tool for defining and implementing activities that meet environmental business concerns. Standards under ISO series 14000 series. ISO 14001 set criteria for environmental management system. ISO 14010 standards about auditing. ISO 14020 standards about environmental labeling. ISO 14013 standards on environmental performance evaluation. ISO 14040 standards on environmental life cycle assessment. Now we see the benefits of ISO. So when it is common, when ISO standards and procedure are followed by a company or organization, then the quality of their products and services automatically going to increase. And these are the benefits: saving time and money, improving system and process efficacy, increasing customer satisfaction, being more competitive, getting more value out of all resources, boosting your credibility, improving environment health, improving employee health and satisfaction. Now we are going to discuss the process of getting ISO certification. But before that, we should create clear between the two terms certification and accreditation. So certification, the provision by an independent body of written assurance, a certificate that the product, services or system in questions meet specific requirements. So in India, there are these are some companies which provide certification to the companies or organization. TOV Node, TOV Sud, BSI, TOV Randland, Intertech. And now we understand between accreditation. The formal recognition of ISO certification is provided by the government body accreditation standards. So basically ये क्या कहना चाहते हैं कि accreditation जो होता है वो कहता है कि accreditation board for certification bodies. So these bodies check whether these certification providing company operates on the basis of standards developed by Casco Committee. Means they provide certification to the companies based on their ISO standards. Now IAF and non-IAF ISO standard certificates. So difference between the IAF and non-IAF. IAF ISO standard certificate used in government tender and available by manufacturing industries who participating in government tender. Company charge normally 3,000 to 6,000 for IAF ISO standards. Some companies charge additional for the audit and issue certificate for 3 years. Non-IAF ISO standard certificate for the purpose of simply branding and advertisement only. Simply certified company take fees which is nearby 1500 to 3000 INR and issue certificate for 3 years. Available by small business, computer institute, etc. Now the process of getting certification. Pre-request to ISO certification. First of all, choosing the type of ISO certification. First of all, you need to choose the type of ISO certification required for business, basically which for which standards you are applying your certificate. Second one, choosing an ISO certification body. ISO does not provide certification. So we study that ISO only develops standards. Certification is done by external bodies. It is very important that you choose recognized and credible certification body, which evaluate several ISO certification service provider. Check if they are following CASCO standards. Check whether it is accredited or not. So now process of ISO certification, create an application or contract. The applicant and the registrar should agree on a contract. This contract usually defines rights and obligations of both parties and includes liability issues confidentially and access rights. Now, quality document review. The ISO auditor will view all your quality manuals and documents related to various policies and procedures being followed in the organization. Review of existing work will help the ISO auditor to identify the possible gaps against the requirements stipulated in the ISO standards. Third step is make an action plan. After the ISO auditor communicates the existing gap in your organization, you should prepare an action plan to eliminate these gaps. Prepare the list of the required tasks. Sorry for that. You may be required to give training to employees to work efficiently while adopting to new procedure. Make all the employees aware of ISO standards in terms of working efficiency and quality standards. Initial certification audits. This took place in two stages. Stage one, the ISO auditor will audit the changes made by you in the organization. They will then try to identify the possible non-conformities in your system. and procedure to the desired quality management system. They will divide these non-conformities into minor and major. The applicant must be carefully assess all these non-conformities and get it aligned as per the desired quality standards through modification in the techniques and process used by the organization. Stage 2. After all these required changes done in the organization, the ISO auditor does the final auditing. The auditor does the final auditing. The auditor will check whether all these non-conformities have been eliminated or not. If the ISO auditor is satisfied, they will prepare the final audit report and forward it to the registrar. Next step is completing the ISO certification. After all the non-conformities are addressed and all the findings are put in the ISO audit report, the registrar will grant you the ISO certification. Now, surveillance audits. Surveillance audit is basically conducted to ensure that ISO quality standards are being maintained by the organization. It is conducted from time to time. Now, the cost involved in the ISO certification. Cost of getting ISO certification is not fixed and varies from organization to organization. Agencies, the certification agency calculates the cost of ISO certification separately for each organization after considering them in different parameters such as number of employees, number of processes, risk of level of risk associated with the scope of service of the organization, complexity of the management system, the number of working shift, etc. Now the time involved in the certification. Time taken in completing the whole process of ISO certification also varies from organization to organization. The fair idea can be given by agency after assessing the size of company. Generally, the time required to complete the process of ISO certification is approximate for small organization. It takes 6 to 8 months. Medium organization, it takes 8 to 12 months. And for large organization, it takes 12 to 15 months. Now in India, as we discussed, this ISO standard certification is not only given to the organization but for the process and services. So in India, Bhubaneswar become the first city in the India to receive the ISO 9001 and 2015 certification for effective SSM services for the management of vehicle services. And Guwahati. It is the first ISO certified railway station of India for environmental management system. It gets ISO certification of 14001. Now here I end with the quotes